Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, EM freaks out I engaged her nonverbal son. My mom always steal food from me. Entitled Dad called the police on me for sitting in a pool. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. EM freaks out I engaged her nonverbal son. Older lady stopped at our shop because her motor started ticking all of a sudden. Wasn't buying that, since the ticking is the ticking sound of a spectacular engine death coming soon. She was busy with the techs, and in the waiting room was her teenage-age kid just staring at the Rubik's Cube on the counter. So when I finished cashing out a vendor, I went to the office, grabbed the cube and handed it to him. His eyes lit up and he started playing with it. He said thank you and signed, so I signed back you're welcome. I only know basic sign, working on ASL. That's when the mom noticed she thought I was talking to her kid. I get the whole special needs thing. I have a brother that's special needs, but I don't believe in socially isolating them from engaging with normal people. When I stepped back out into the shop, she got in my face telling me her kid is deaf and that I wasted time talking to him in the first place. I explained to her that I knew some sign language and all I did was say you're welcome to him when he thanked me for the toy. She didn't see me sign to her son, so she missed all of that and backed down when she went into the office and asked her son what I said. They ended up leaving after finding out there's nothing we could do to save the engine. We let him keep the Rubik's Cube. I honestly don't think he's ever seen one. She got in my face telling me her kid is deaf and that I wasted time talking to him in the first place. This is the part that gets to me. These aren't the words of an overprotective parent. They're the words of someone with an ableist view of their own child. I like that you called it his language. I feel like people don't understand how special it is to someone who is deaf when someone can speak their language. Speaking from experience, when I first met my deaf best friend, she signed hi and I signed back and her face just lit up. She keeps telling me how much it meant to her that I didn't ignore her, but that I also knew her language. Geez, mom, let your kid be a kid. I think it is totally appropriate what you did. You even knew his language. He will remember you fondly. Mom was probably being an overbearing/controlling parent. As a mom of an adult with disabilities, I would have been overjoyed to see my son be able to communicate successfully with a stranger in a brief exchange such as this. Wow. This mother evidently sees her child as less than a typical child. That is heartbreaking. She could have created such a lovely and meaningful example for her son out of this interaction, but instead she berates you for a wasted effort. I sincerely hope it was overprotectiveness and naivety that led her to flubbing it up. But I don't think it is. A parent of a neurodiverse child who is mindful of opportunities to help them integrate into a neurotypical world would have cherished this interaction. Instead, her instant reaction is to shut it down and consider it useless. I bet this child will remember your kindness, however. A friend of mine teaches deaf kids in elementary. The amount of rejection/isolation some deaf kids get from their own parents is horrifying. My mom always steals food from me. My family and I are all eating a hamburger. She comes to my seat and asks me for a piece, even though there are ingredients in the kitchen or on the table to make another one, and I can make one for her without any issues. We are eating a pizza? Same thing, she always takes a slice from me. Are we eating the exact same thing? She always takes some from me. Just earlier it happened again and I replied, there's another slice of bread in the kitchen, why do you have to take it from my plate without asking? She says to me, it's to be nice to your mom, and I say to her, but it's a matter of principle, it's annoying that you always have to take food from me. It's enough, don't you think? And she remains silent. What do you think? Yeah, it's not about the food. Just a power move. You're doing the right thing. Yep. It's about control. Take food off my plate and I will stick my fork into your hand. It's to be nice to your mom. Maybe you should practice being nice to your kid. From your comments I'm getting the vibe that she has the wombo combo of a toxic abusive parent who picks on her specifically about what she eats. She gets picked on by her mom, so she sends the shit down the line and picks on you. And the subject she is picked on about is eating too much, so she feels like if she makes food for herself then she is bad. All that to say your family's problems are not your problems. Plan to move out ASAP because they all sound terrible. It isn't your job to change any of these people, but you do have to put up with them while you live there. Maybe consider making an extra serving of food when you think she is going to steal from you. It is a shitty thing to have to do, but hey, you live with shitty people, so add it to the list of reasons to leave ASAP. Entitled dad called the police on me for sitting in a pool. This just happened today and I'm so mad. 28 am, autistic, just wanted to spend some time relaxing in our local swimming pool. I had black goggles and like to swim underwater. I also like to simply rest against the poolside and chill. Also, I was the only adult male without any children in this pool, which is clearly for everyone to use, shallow at one end, deep at the other, etc. I'm just resting by the poolside when a manager, not even a lifeguard, a bloody manager, comes over to me and tells me my presence and behavior is making someone uncomfortable. He explained that someone had complained that me diving underwater and simply sitting by the side of the pool was apparently unacceptable, because I was apparently doing this to peep on children. He told me this in a non-accusatory tone and seemed to sound as confused as me about this. At first I thought I was upsetting some over-worried parent, and being a parent myself I felt horrible. I explained that I was just relaxing by the poolside, offered to take off my goggles to put them at ease, and even wanted to apologize to this person. The manager seemed to accept this and presumably went back to the parent to let them know I was sorry for upsetting them. About 10 minutes passed and the manager was back, telling me the police had arrived. I was shocked and asked if it was about me. The manager said yes and that they wanted to talk to me. This is when I meet the entitled dad for the first time, big guy, maybe early to mid-30s and pretty buff looking. This is the only time he spoke to me, and all he said was, "You better go quietly." He walked away before I could reply and the manager led me out the pool. I felt tempted to flip this Kevin the Bird as I walked by, but I kept my cool and just left. I get to the locker rooms and 2 policewomen were waiting. Fortunately for me, they were really nice and friendly with me the whole time. After grabbing a towel, they started asking me what happened and what I was doing. I was honest and told them I was just trying to relax and had no idea I was upsetting this person just by being there. I even told them I was autistic, which led to one of the officers telling me they had a family member who was also autistic. They then asked me for my details to run me through their database. While that went on, the entitled dad walked by and one of the officers asked to talk with him. He agreed and they went elsewhere. I got changed back into my clothes, and as I was coming out the changing room, the entitled dad was in my way with his back to me. I couldn't quite hear what he was saying over the other people in the room. But I did hear him rather loudly order his kids to stay put while he went to get changed. He walked off without seeing me and I left the locker room. The police stayed with me in the lobby until their database come back. Of course, it came back that I had no history of crime and the gym staff had told the officers I had no history of disturbing other people and I was free to go. However, the entitled dad was hanging around near the back of the lobby, watching me. The police saw this too and offered to give me a ride home since I had walked to the gym. I accepted since I was pretty shell-shocked by the whole ordeal and worried this guy would try something on my way home. In all, this was a really scary experience and I'm still shaking typing this. I'm just glad the manager and the police were professional enough to let me speak my piece. I should mention there were other parents in the pool who didn't care about my presence. Another dad and his kids were playing right next to me and he didn't care. I really hoped the police ripped him a new one for wasting their time and being a general POS human. Otherwise, in his mind, he just won as he complained about you and you left in the back of a police car. What an absolute bellend. I'm sorry you had to go through this, OP. Happy Cake Day. If you see him at the pool in future, preemptively have a word with whoever is the on-duty manager and explain that he tried to harass you before and when the manager told him you weren't doing anything wrong he called the police. Make it clear you're not asking them to do anything immediately, but you're afraid he might harass you again and want them to be aware. That way, if he does anything else, the manager will already have your side. Oh my god, how dare you hang out in a pool while there's kids around? You monster. I wasn't aware that pools were now only for kids and families. I'm sorry you had to go through that. You know you have special rights to take over places after you or your spouse squeeze out a crotch goblin, right? Single and child-free people are so selfish and really should just hide out at home. They are just jealous of parents or pervs. All of them. I'm so sorry you've experienced this kind of crap. I'd wait a day or two, then call the pool and say something like, "Hello. I'm interested in coming to swim today, but I just want to make sure that the man who calls the police on disabled people isn't there. I wouldn't want my presence to upset him again, as I'm afraid he might start throwing punches if he realizes that that's not an arrestable offense. Is it safe to stop by?" And just see what they say to that. Wow, this was so traumatic for you. I suggest you talk to an attorney to see if anything can be done about being unjustifiably targeted like this. I hope you can calm yourself and not let it affect your use of the pool going forward. That person is despicable. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.